poppin', peace and crease. It's been a minute since I really uploaded like that. I actually got some other power shit that I did in the past, and I'll just upload that before this, so you can go check that out for all the shit that I missed. Shout out my nigga No Label to Label. Like I said, yo, the Power Universe has been kind of dry. Y'all Power fans don't be rooting like that no more. But still, the story is going hard. Like I fuck with what's up. Like they left my nigga Saul Baselli, yo. They left this nigga in front of a church leaking. I gotta keep it a P. They passed that nigga Saul Baselli around like a fucking blunt. Yeah, they smoked that nigga. They broke him down like a fucking roach. They re-rolled him and smoked him again. But anyway, yeah, blood, yeah, we gonna be looking at a classic, that nigga movie by just so y'all know though, my bad, I haven't been meaning to not upload or whatnot. I'm like so close to 500 subs. I'm like 4 subscribers away from 500 subs. I think that's like, you don't get monetized, but you get like junior monetized, I think. But I've been working on my second channel over here, so I've been busy with that shit. But I'm gonna definitely be more consistent with this power shit. I'm actually about to move. God, this fucking beer right here is hitting. I'm about to move soon though, so I got a lot going on right now. But I will definitely be keeping up with Raising Kanan because I'm fucking with the story so far, and y'all let me know what you think about in the comment section.
Sé exactamente con quién estoy tratando, Juliana. You're the bitch I used to buy Newports from.
Ooh.
You speak Spanish?
One underlying theme that we're now all familiar with in the Power universe is characters wanting out the game because of a near-death experience, either for themselves or a loved one, or because they know the place that they live in only ends in death or jail. But the question isn't about whether other people...
Hey, real quick, and also, y'all let me know in the comment section. I felt like when I was watching the episode when Stefano stepped to Rock and asked her to kill Saul Baselli, I kind of felt like there was like an ulterior motive to that shit. I don't think this is the end of their business. Y'all let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong though.
Other people believe you're at the street game. It's no good convincing others. It's about whether you believe it. Like the older Kanan's narration told us right at the very end, he pointed towards the self-deception of Rock. She may attempt to tell herself otherwise, but ultimately, she's just lying to herself. Kanan also referred to the tragic nature of the street game. Sacrifices and losses are a part of the game, and many miss out on family milestones because of the life that they live. Those who are lucky enough to go grey and see their kids grow up have done so because they've had to bury friends and loved ones along the way, and so loss becomes a recurring theme. But towards the end of your time, it's just you and your god. Now in reference to you and your god, dying is done alone, but being alive isn't a team sport either. Despite blood being thicker than water and alliances and romantic relationships being formed in the streets, the older Kanan's narration reminded us that we're all in this alone. It's a stock.
Yo, this nigga movie about blood getting real philosophical. Hey, but also, when I was watching Marvin do that hit at the church, yo, I was getting anxiety. I was like, Marvin, look, you just barely escaped last time. My nigga, like, please don't get turned into a pack.
Reminder at the end of the day is every man or woman for themselves. Now, episode 2 kicks off with Unique establishing where we are with the timeline. Season 3 episode 1 picked up from where they left off at the end of season 2, but it's been 2 weeks since Unique and Rock have been kicking it. But it doesn't mean Unique can get comfortable in Rock's house either. The only people that can do that is her and Kanan, if he ever comes around, which is news to Unique. You didn't know about their falling out, and I don't know if it was such a good idea spilling the beans about her relationship with Kanan. Sure, they're kicking it right now, but what about when and if they're not, or they turn into enemies again, which, let's be real, is a real possibility. So this Kanan information is something Unique can use if he decides.
My last interjection for a second, but as far as that whole enemies thing about Unique's brother, bro, we know he be talking spicy about Rock already. Y'all got me on the comment section. Do you think that Unique's brother is gonna cause rifts between Unique and Rock? His niggas out there saying Unique's brother is Breeze. Y'all let me know what we thinking.
If he decides to. Now on a quick side note, something else we haven't seen is an interaction between Unique and Kanan either. Whether we'll get that in season 3 with Kanan getting into the mix, let's wait and see. So that's just a thought. Now despite Rock being out the game, she has to have eyes at the back of her head at all times. But even sometimes that can't save you. Kanan's narration warned us, it doesn't matter where your eyes are, no matter how vigilant or strategic you are, the streets are unpredictable, and if someone wants to get you, it doesn't matter what you do, they will find a way. So as Rock and Unique are kidnapped, they waste no time in revealing who was behind it. It was Stefano Marchetti. This was the first time he'd come across Unique, and we hear them taking fun out of his nickname, which is where he made reference to some big names in the Italian crime scene in New York, like the Chin, Vincent Giganti, who was the head of the Genovese crime family in New York, Al Capone, Scarface, Joe Bananas, Joseph Bonanno, who is the head of the Bonanno crime family. For Stefano, they called him the Big Fish. I wonder why.
And by the way, I'm gonna buy a couple of butterfly fish before you go.
Now, Stefano didn't bring Rock and Unique here to have jokes about nicknames. He had a job for Rock. He wanted her to get rid of Sal Baselli, because apparently his botched a hit attempt at the end of season 2 wasn't only Sal's fuck-ups, but it was the final straw. Unfortunately for Stefano, Rock was done shooting her way out of problems, and if she was going to settle the beef, it would be by sitting down. However, Stefano wasn't playing games. If she didn't do this one job for him, he and the rest of the 5 families would get rid of Rock, her family, and Sal
Oh god, yo, I just remembered that nigga Stefano. Yo, that's Tony Danza.
Baselli. So what does Stefano mean by 5 families? When it comes to the rise and fall of the mafia, it can be traced all the way back to the so-called 5 families. Many came from Sicily who settled for a spot on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, hence why they now call it Little Italy. These were 5 powerful families that ran New York for decades, making money from legit businesses, but also profiting from illegal gambling to various street operations. In doing so, they established a blueprint and their
Yo, I'm gonna keep it a peep with y'all. All the Italian niggas that I know, they live out there in like Staten Island. That's when I was in New York. They was all. That's where they was at.
crime then spread across America. It was an organization that relied on fear to get what it wants, and if they had a dispute, they weren't afraid to handle it with a bullet, or in Stefano's case, a fairness. There was the Bonanno family, Colombo, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese, and there are loads of films and shows which have been inspired by their story, like The Godfather and Sopranos, where you get
Yo, hold on a second. I'm gonna let this nigga, I'm gonna let him spit a little bit longer, but if you keep all this fucking, history revelation shit up, we might have to fast forward, because is this chatting? Your movie Blood might be a criminal informant. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, my nigga. Is this snitching? Y'all have to let me know in the comment section.
where you get the gist. The Italians aren't to be messed with, so I think it was in Rock's best interest to do as Stefano says. Now, how she was going to get Sal's location to carry out the hit, that information was going to be passed on from Stefano, because Sal was going to venture out for a baby shower later on. With Marvin and Lou, we pick up with them in a club. Lou's still saying fuck Rock, and he's still on the drink, while Marvin just sits there with his head on a constant swivel, because in this game, you have to have your eyes at the back of your head at all times. You don't know where your enemies are, whether they're gonna bust into your house with masks on, or whether you see them in a club in a suit and tie, and maybe undercover cops, and I'm gonna get to that point in just a moment. But Lou and Marvin remind me of the role reversal we recently saw in Ghost Season 3. Drew was said to be the calmer, level-headed and strategic character, whereas Kane was a shooter. He always had this anger built up inside and made impulsive, reckless decisions just like his father. Now that relationship actually mirrors what we saw early on from Lou and Marvin, but just like Drew and Kane, there definitely has been a bit of a role reversal. Marvin's now the calm one, he speaks less, observes more, he's family first, and he also gets shit done and gets shit done right. Whereas with Lou, he is getting a little reckless. For example, him not carrying his piece so soon after the mob's attack on them is just asking for trouble. We also will
Yo, this nigga movie about being nice about it. Yo, they did. He said when Marvin started off, your Blood was a crackhead. Okay? He was a recovering crack addict. And this nigga Lou, he went from being the fucking strategic nigga. He used to be like Shikamaru from Naruto, but now this nigga, he's a fucking drunk. Movie about talking about he's showing erratic behavior. No, this is crash dummy behavior.
So what happened when he took the night off in Season 1, and it was a reminder that there are no nights off in this game. Blink or pause just for a moment, and it can be game over.
If you're an options trader, day trader, or stock trader, and you're losing money in the market right now, or you're not making enough returns, it's not your fault.
Guess what, AI stock picks? Like, I'm not losing no fucking money at all, my nigga.
Now, Marvin's a perfect example of a character who's ready for any given situation. As he waited for the 2 guys in the bathroom with his gun in hand, he soon realized that they were just 2 guys looking for some product, or maybe they're undercover, because
I was just about to say, y'all let me know in the comment section, these 2 doofuses, this Beavis and Butthead, yo, hey, this is the cops, right? Yo, like, hey, Marvin, go see these niggas in court. Y'all let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong. But, like, no, wait, yo, no. Oh, shit, my headphones is dying. Let me hurry this up. No way, this is just 2 random doofuses asking for cocaine, though. Like, yo, this is the feds. Marvin should have fucking had these niggas strip. Look at this nigga right here. Blood definitely got a wire on.
Because we know law enforcement are putting together an organized crime task force. But having said that, I think the writers know what they're doing with this one. They're making us think. It's what power do and it's what they're great at. We also have to remember that Tony did try and get Marvin to admit he was a drug dealer, just like these guys, but Marvin knew in season 1. But regardless, Marvin was intrigued to know how much they'd pay, and these Wall Street motherfuckers would pay a couple hundred just for a gram. Back in season 1, we learned around the way you get around 25. Jukebox said that Kanan could sell to white folks for around 50, but Marvin might have just found a way to shift some product. But the question remains, are these guys actually looking to have a good time, or could they be undercover? There was always going to be a
I'm hoping that nigga Marvin like gave them a burner pager number or something.
memorial or a funeral of some sort for Detective Berg, despite her being suspended from the police
The Detective Berg blunt getting passed around the planet.
force. And let's not forget, she had a huge impact on Duke by being there for her in a time of need, whether it be by just listening after Nicole's death or getting her out of trouble when she was arrested. She definitely left her mark. Whether Berg's death is the reason why she's now contemplating joining the military, I think it is, and it's probably just laying the foundation for Duke to eventually becoming a cop. Now Duke also isn't stupid. She knows the world that they live in, and she probably knows their death isn't a coincidence and what it seems, hence to look at Detective Howard. Now inside, Detective Howard stood and gave the eulogy, and this was cold coming from the person that was actually responsible for her death. Sure, Berg didn't help herself, but she wasn't wrong with her investigation either. But the way Howard delivered this speech at the funeral while concealing the truth really does showcase a certain level of manipulative behavior, and it does tell us how far Detective Howard is willing to go to protect himself, his secrets, and maintain the image of an upstanding member of law enforcement. Now,
Yo, translation, that nigga Detective Howard is a goddamn maniac.
this scene also reminded me of the time Tariq gave the eulogy at Go's funeral, all while knowing he was the one that put the bullet in him. There was also Tommy who came to Angela's funeral and gave his condolences to her sister, knowing that he was the one that pulled the trigger. But when we talk about his character psyche, in contrast to Tommy who felt no emotion, Howard reflects conflicting emotions, because I do get the sense he does feel a bit of remorse, because he didn't want to kill Berg, he gave her every opportunity to kind of turn it around. So this really does add a psychological layer to his character, making his story that much more complex. Now later at Berg's memorial, the captain was stressed because the fallout from Sacristano just keeps on getting worse. He told Howard how there were 3 more convictions that got overturned, which does bring the current total to 13. And this is what I made reference to prior to season 3. Not only do we have to be mindful of who they could release, but that number is gonna rise, and I wouldn't be surprised if it results in a major player or 2 being released. So this side plot that the writers have introduced really is one to keep an eye on. Now Howard was also said to be looking into Berg's cases. Again, just something to be mindful of. When we talk about Sacristano planting evidence, the question is, how far is Howard willing to go to bury his lies? It goes back to the introduction. Sometimes it's just you alone, and it's each man for himself. So let's not forget a dead man or a woman can't defend themselves. Now at Berg's memorial, we also had Adina Foyle, Berg's ex-girlfriend. She knows that Berg would never have done the things that they're saying, because she did warn Adina towards the end of season 2. But Berg's father didn't want to hear any more of it, and neither did the captain. But you do get the sense that Foyle could be a big problem for Howard, as
Yo, if a nigga is looking at you like this, you gotta stop snooping around, right? Yo, let me know in the comment section. Yo, this nigga Detective Howard, like, yo, blood looking like he in his prime, blood looking like the Terminator. Yo, this nigga look like the 2023 San Francisco 49ers.
as could this new task force. Howard was introduced to Ogden from the Queen's Narcotics Division. He was here because of the dead Italians, overseeing the organized crime task force that's now setting up shop at the precinct, and no doubt, this is going to be a huge problem for all of them, which is why I raised the point about those guys in the club potentially being undercover. With Kanan and Famous, there was a lot of activity in their block. It was Paul who moved into Palomar and Corinne's old apartment, and so just a quick side note on Palomar, it does seem like her story is over with. Now on Paul's hustle, he runs a courier service across all 5 boroughs of New York, pick up and deliver anything that they could fit through a messenger bag. In essence, he was the middleman, very similar for anybody who's ever used Uber.
Oh shit, I almost forgot about Paul. Like, yo, Rock put a piece to her head and told her to move across the country. Hey, how y'all think she doing? Y'all can let me know in the comment section.
Eats. On a slow day they did around 10-15 runs, on a crazy day they did around 70, and there was also 20 he couldn't do because of the manpower. And we all know about Kanan's entrepreneurial mind. He was doing his homework on how Paul makes his money, because everybody has their hustle, but you can learn from others, use their system and make it work for you by just adding your own spin to it. Sometimes it's not about reinventing the wheel, just stick with the basics with what works. Find a product that people depend on, find a system that works and just add your own spin or product to it, and that's what Kanan did later. Now, just before he put the wheels in motion for his hustle, Rock did try and make an amends. But the thing is with Kanan, he doesn't want a car. He just wants to be treated like an adult. He wants respect and honesty. That's why he questioned her about Beck's suicide just like he did with Scrap. Rock's lies just never end, and I do feel had Rock just been honest with
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't even understand why Rock lied about this shit at this point. She should have just told Kanan the truth. I mean, like, that probably would, honestly, that would fix everything. But, like, this one small little lie is, like, turning into so much other shit. Like, I mean, like, Howard is fucking crashing out. Everybody else's life is spiraling out of control. I mean, yo, this nigga Marvin, this nigga is going on so many goddamn side quests. I get anxiety every time there's a Marvin, every time they show Marvin on screen, every time there's a Marvin scene, my anxiety is going through the fucking roof. Like, if there was a metaphor for that shit, it would look like a goddamn rocket. Anyway.
honest with Kanan in this moment. Who knows? Maybe they could have thought twice about their relationship and given it one more chance. But you can tell, Kanan is completely done. He doesn't want the car from his mom's, and if he wants his own ride, he's gonna buy it himself. So this goes back to Kanan running his own hustle, but not exactly reinventing the wheel. Using Paul's system, but adding his product. He had the Weed Connect and Paul had the courier system. And this is going to be Kanan's first foot in the streets and the start of his very own organization. Over from one person who's getting their foot in the game to another who wants out, but she still had one job to do for the Italians. I mentioned earlier that there's been a flip with Marvin and Lou's character, and the same goes for their position under Rock. Lou used to be Rock's go-to, but now that's Marvin. She tells him how they need to deal with Boselli, but how she wasn't happy because the Mafia are always talking about code and rules, all while they're just trying to find loopholes to stab each other in the back, and I couldn't agree more. It goes back to the theme of this video, and very deep in the history books, there is a lot of foul play from the Italian Mafia stabbing each other in the back. For example, Lucky Luciano who betrayed his boss and flipped to the other side with Maranzano, and the list goes on with
Hey y'all, just in case the Mafia watches this shit, it ain't got nothing to do with me, alright? Like, yo, movie about the one doing all that research. Y'all let me know in the comments, is this snitching? Is this chatting?
the Italians, so Rock definitely knows. That's why she wants to be done with them and out the game. But she
Y'all let me know in the comment section, yo, is this nigga is movie about a Gunna fan? Dude, Blood got 6ix9ine on repeat?
also had to tell a Colombian connect. Now, whether you believe Rock is out the game or not, like Unique said in this conversation with Stefano, it's whether she believes it, and at this moment in time, she's still committed to leaving. She approaches Joaquin and tells him that she's out the game, which did create a small conflict between him and Juliana. Joaquin didn't care if she had another supplier or not, he didn't want to create an issue, but Juliana said Rock was dangerous, and you bet she is. Not only is she dangerous, she's got secrets and a backstory even we don't know about still. This was the first time we learned that Rock could understand and speak Spanish, and it just adds to the mystery of her backstory. When and how did she learn Spanish? It also raises another question. What other secrets does she hold? After all, let's not forget who we're dealing with. So would anybody be surprised if we start to learn more about her backstory? I definitely wouldn't be. Now as Rock left, Joaquin gave a stark warning to Juliana. She needs to worry more about whether Rock was done with her instead of the other way around, which I just think foreshadows her eventual death. It's always easy to act tough when you're sitting next to your cousin Joaquin in your restaurant with a
Yo, get your reservations ready. The Juliana pack is hitting dispensaries at a store near you. Get your Juliana t-shirts. Get your Juliana memorabilia, because she's going to be a distant memory by next season. Yo, the way this nigga movie about talking Juliana going out like JFK.
with a bunch of bodyguards, but one-on-one versus Rock. Let's see how tough she is then, because she's fighting way above her weight class.
A couple years ago, I ended up in a motorcycle accident. I didn't have health insurance at the time, and now I have a plan that keeps me covered for $9 a month.
Yeah, I swear to God, like, I mean, is not having insurance riding a motorcycle, that's like skydiving with no parachute, right? Let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong.
Now we're just going to take a look at some family dynamics across the chessboard before we come to Marvin and Sal Boselli. Back at Marvin's we had Mr. Bingham who was singing his praises over Duke, and he was here to try and convince Duke to audition for this role in a new girls group because she certainly has a talent for it, but you can tell Duke is a little conflicted at this moment in time. On one hand, she does want to sing, but she also knows that the world that she's living in is pretty fucked up, and she also wants out of Queens. We also saw how she was thinking about signing up for the military, and you have to wonder whether this plays a part in her becoming a cop. But it does seem like she is giving his singing one more shot, but to do this she needed Lou, and we all know from season 2, their relationship isn't exactly in the best of places. Now Lou's place is a complete wreck just like he is, but something that could be a saving grace for both of them could be music. But before they got to their music, they had a lot to get off their chest. Lou apologized for Kenya, and he also apologized for doing a dirty by giving Duke's song to Ziza, which he should never have done. But once that was out the way,
Hey, yo, anybody got that Ziza blunt? Hey, yo, pass that shit over here. Is that Ziza pack still hidden from last season? I know it's been a year, but god damn it. Yo, they clipped Ziza. Yo, she literally, they had to fucking make one of them little chalk outlines for that bitch.
out the way, we saw them bond over something both of them love, and just look how Lou's tone completely changes when it comes to music. He really does feel alive, he's in his zone, he's smiling and laughing, which is something we haven't seen this season. But in this dark world that they live in, music is something that gives both of these characters something to smile about. Now, just on a quick side note before we get to Unique and Ronnie, the song that Duke also had in mind was something that was actually left for her by Kenya, which was played in episode 1, Roberta Flack chapter 2. So you do get the feeling that Duke does feel that connection to her mother, despite what happened in season 2. Now, with the Mathis family, one character who continues to remain a huge mystery is Ronnie Mathis. As Unique came home, Ronnie's just standing there doing his ironing, and it is creepy. Whatever he does is creepy. Vanessa also told Unique how Jerome saw Ronnie downstairs last night, sitting in the dark staring at the TV, but the TV was off. He was just staring at the blank screen. And it just adds to the mystery of Ronnie's character, which I think the writers are going to toy for us with a few more episodes. They're going to drip feed us bits of information about who he is, what he's up to, and exactly what he's capable of, which will probably start with this bouncer. This bouncer that spoke shit to Ronnie is definitely going to feel his wrath, because while he sat in the club, he wasn't worried about bottles and girls. He didn't like people invading his space. Ronnie was just locked in. He kept his eyes on the bouncer that disrespected him.
Yo, y'all let me know the comment section. Is Ronnie into men? Maybe I got it wrong. Hey, by the way, I love the LGBTQ. No disrespect. Like I said, the LGBTQ. Yo, I'm telling you now. Hey, if y'all make a YouTube channel, I'll subscribe. Anyway.
Him, and you can bet we're about to find out just how cold he is. Now, just on a quick side note with Unique, we saw a meeting between Unusual and Mr. Linguini. Mr. Stefano made reference to how Unique had to speak to his partners, which he was happy to help with. So it does seem like we're set to be introduced to a few new players, and potentially some more crime families. Now, speaking of crime families, over to Sal Baselli and his closing moments. At his mansion, he cut across a figure who looked very worried, and he had every right to be, but there was no respite for him as he had law enforcement knocking on his door. A pair of detectives came in to give him a lifeline, because they just heard that there was an assassination plot that was targeting him, and their intel was rock solid. Some of his Italian mafia friends wanted him gone. Now, law enforcement were willing to help him if he was willing to help them, but he knows the score of snitching, and he also knew about the tornado that was coming his way. He knew his time was up. Throughout episode 2, we saw him having his last moments, reminiscing about Marco, but there was no way he could miss the christening of his grandson. Now, on the other side of New York, Marvin knew that he couldn't carry out this hit on his own. He needed the help of Lou. He wasn't even asking Lou to pull the trigger, he just needed him to be on the lookout, but because it was a job for Rock, he closed the door on Marvin. So Marvin had to do most of this shit on his own. He stole a mail delivery van, and then he had Demo drive him to the church. But this is why he needed Lou, and someone on the lookout because the Italians run deep, especially because Sal knew what was coming his way. Now, with Marvin disguised as a mailman, he walked straight in from the back and did what he was here for. The man to get shit done, and get shit done right, all while Rock was busy getting her hair done with an airtight alibi just like in season 1. Whenever she made the call, she made sure she had an alibi. However, on Rock, she can change her hair, she can change her look or maintain her appearance, but one thing she can never change is who she is. She is the motherfucking game.
Rock is a demon!
So you think you know Wix?
Oh, I like
really?
this.
First up, we've got shape video masks. You can use different shapes to create completely different.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like whenever I hear this song or this commercial, this little advertisement, whatever you want to call it, I just get so goddamn happy. Oh my god, I just realized. Alright, well, if y'all enjoyed the vid, like, sub, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace. I'll be back very soon, okay? If not, it's because if y'all want to see me upload within the next 2 weeks, like if I miss the next Power episode, it probably means I got locked up and I'm in jail. But if not, I'll be back soon. And I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.